All right, what's up, guys? And well, mainly guys. Actually, I've looked at my demographics. Not guys and girls. It's guys. I am back with what has become seemingly my bread and butter, F1 League races. And this is, of course, the only league that I'm running in at this point. The league that I created, F1 CRL, on the PlayStation, and we are racing at China. Which is I think a first for me. I mean, I've raced here in career mode, breaking point. This is the first league race that I've ever raced at China. So, I've been looking forward to this. I put it on the calendar solely because I feel like it's a race that doesn't get run a lot in league races that I've seen. Admittedly, I haven't seen every single league race that's ever happened, but in the league racing that I've been exposed to, I haven't seen a lot of China raced. So I thought it would be a good track, and it's a track that has a lot of these corners that obviously are not great for passing, but it's got this really long straight that you're looking at right now during my qualifying lap, my final qualifying lap, and also it's got the straight that goes into turn one. So there are certainly areas that you can pass if you're close enough to get DRS after all the kind of really slow turns. If you watch my videos, you know that I'm not great at slow cornering tracks. I'm better at tracks that I think are faster cornering. You see me with the P10 qualifying here, so that's obviously not great, but it could be a lot worse given we're on a 20-man grid here tonight. So, I'll certainly. I would like to be better than that, but I will take it. Here you see the beginning of lap one. My whole focus here was on staying safe. Just don't wreck yourself. And we have no safety cars right now in this league. So my whole focus was don't wreck yourself. Just stay clean. I thought Fonzie got a little tight there on that corner where he bumped me. But, it was... I don't think that he was maliciously cutting me off or anything. I think it was just the fact of the matter is there are a lot of cars on the track, very bunched up at this point. So, I didn't press the issue, did no incident report on that, but I did think that he got a little bit tight there. So, I tried to avoid getting that tight on anybody on this first lap here. You see another situation there with Bode. Bode is the guy inside me, Bode 95 right there. You see him get past me there. That was just a situation where we're going wheel to wheel into that corner, and that's just what happens. You see Solitary Meteor 0 there with a really nice evade, I thought, on me. He certainly could have turned in on me, but I guess he saw me out of the corner of his eye, and he sort of took evasive action, so that was nice. I appreciated that. I actually thanked him for that in the Discord. After the race. I thought that was cool. And then you also see here, I go a little bit deep on my breaking point. Solitary, again, sort of takes evasive action, avoids me. So, again, appreciate that, Solitary, if you happen to watch this video. I don't know if you watch my videos, but if you do, I appreciate it. So that's the first lap. And obviously the action continues, but the first lap is going to be the situation when we have the most action on any race. That's not China specific. That's any racetrack that we're racing on. But I will say this race was interesting for me because in the time that I've been doing F1 league races and doing the content creation associated with those league races, I have to say I think this is the race that I show you the most of as a viewer. I really wasn't expecting the amount of action that happened here to happen. And honestly, I probably, there were a few places throughout the race here that I cut out just a lap or so when there's not really any passing action. It's almost like a VSC where everybody stays pretty much the same amount of time away from each other. But honestly, I probably could have shown you that stuff too. I mean, it was just, this more so than any other race I've ever run in an F1 league race against other people, was really tight bunched and just had a lot of action nonstop. So you see Solitary there get past Bode. I I took a run at Bode there, just, it didn't work out. And then I sort of get a snap there right after the corner exit, and I lose a bunch of time to Bode in solitary. Solitary hits the wall, which is unfortunate for him, fortunate for me because I get another place. But, that is, I think, the name of the game for me. If you've watched my videos, you know I am not the fastest guy, and I absolutely was not the fastest guy at this track this week. And I really had to just sort of try to be smart, just try to stay alive, try not to wreck. I think especially in a league where you don't have safety cars, which this league currently, we don't have safety cars. And, there's been some discussion around, do we go back to maybe a reduced safety car next year? I don't know. It's TBD. We will see what happens there. But for now, we're going no safety cars for the end of the season. I think it's this race and then another 3 races to end out the season. So I need to be familiar with driving no safety cars. And I think the name of the game when you don't have a safety car, I mean, of course, obviously, you want to be fast, no matter where you're racing, no matter what the situation is. A big goal of yours should be to be really fast all the time, right? But I don't have a ton of pace. There are certain tracks that we've raced that I feel like I've gotten good pace. I got a fast lap at Imola two or three races ago. That was largely a function of the fact that I spun out late. And then also made a pretty poor tire choice, so ended up on fresh softs with 2 laps to go or something. But nonetheless, that's a situation where I did get a fast lap, so that's, it indicates that maybe there was at least some pace hidden within this car for me. I'm not currently unlocking it at China. You see me there. I was P1 for a bit with Moose behind me. I pitted. Moose takes the lead, and then I pit. I think it was 2.6 seconds on the pit stop. Very fine. We will take it any day of the week. I come out of the pits slightly in front of Bode, which was really nice to see. Bode, in my experience, has been a big undercut guy. Austria, I think I've seen him do a massive undercut, so it did not surprise me that he pitted a little earlier than I did, but it was really nice that I stayed in front of him. I really appreciated that, and we will certainly see if I can keep it that way. You see me skip a lap there. Fonzie in front of me had some sort of issue. I don't know exactly what the situation was there, but it looked like he spun out or maybe made contact with J-Rack. I don't know. I don't know what the situation was, but the way it worked out for me is that Fonzie lost a lot of time to me. So going into this lap 8 here, I went from being 4, 5, 6 seconds behind Fonzie maybe to being within a second. So, of course, in my brain, I'm thinking, okay, let's maximize this. Let's see if we can get close, maybe stay in range, maybe we can get DRS. And get an overtake here, and then see if we can fend him off for a bit. That was my thinking here. So I'm essentially pushing as hard as I can at this point to try to stay within the 1 second range, and not just within the 1 second range, but within the 1 second range to the point that I can actually pass him when I get the opportunity. So, if you're within 1 second, you get the DRS, but if you're let's say 0.9 seconds behind, you're probably not going to be able to pass depending on the straight. So you see Fonzie weaving a bit here. I called him out in main chat for this. I don't actually know if this is illegal. That's one thing that I learned from my research in the subject. It seems like maybe in real life F1 drivers have been penalized for excessive weaving to break the toe, and then it seems like in other situations they haven't been. And it was arguably close enough to be considered blocking. I think at one point there, at one point there on the straight, I was 0.3, 0.4 seconds behind Fonzie. So arguably that was within range to be considered blocking, but I didn't press the issue. I didn't do an incident report or something. Honestly, my whole strategy on incident reports is like, I'm not trying to be petty about this stuff, you know? I think if I see something that is problematic as the commissioner of the league, I will certainly address it with rules. If someone does something that's inappropriate or illegal or is just blatant and disrespectful, we will absolutely penalize guys for that. But my strategy is not come out here and just report anytime that anyone does anything that negatively impacts me at all. I think that you see sometimes in F1 leagues that sometimes people will sort of treat incident reporting that way, and that will report essentially anything that negatively impacts them. And I have certainly seen that in my time as commissioner of this league and steward of this league, right? I'm involved in the penalties for every race. I have a couple guys that help me with that, but at the end of the day, I have to see all these penalties coming through, and I've certainly seen some penalty reports that are frivolous, I might say, that are just sort of tick-tacky. There are a lot of penalty reports that are great. I appreciate them, and it's behavior that needs to be addressed or penalized or whatever you want to call it. But you certainly see people complaining about stuff that maybe doesn't necessarily warrant a complaint. So my take on that is that I always try to avoid being really frivolous with some of my incident reporting. So I'm 100% not going to report the weaving by Fonzie, and probably need to better understand the rules before I create a rule that says that you can't do that or you can't do that. I don't know. To be discussed later. You see there going into that last turn, Chris KYU62 just had a much better angle into the turn. I did not have a great angle, and I wasn't going to press the issue. Again, the name of the game, I think, here in a 25% race with no safety car is just stay safe, be smart, be consistent, stay on the track. Because in my experience, when I spin out, when I make contact with someone else, and my race is ruined, that doesn't help me at all. So going back to 4 or 5 turns ago or whatever it was, I probably could have accelerated full speed into that corner, and maybe it would have worked out. Maybe even if we'd made contact, maybe I would have been fine. But I decided the smart play was probably to not do that. You see Moose just made a run at me on the inside there going into the hairpin. I stayed in front of him. I'm assuming he got some like a snap of understeer or something on exit from that turn, because he lost a lot of time. Going into the turn, it was something like, we were basically even, right? Going out of the turn, out of the corner, I had 0.6 seconds on him or something like that. So, I think there had to be something happen there. I gain a place, not a space. I gain a place from someone spinning out there. So I am P7 going into lap 13. Chris KYU is very close to my tail. Moose is very close behind him. I know that these guys have more pace than I do. I know that Chris has DRS right here, and frankly, I don't have any ability to fight him there, so I let him through. He had DRS. He's also faster than I am, so he was certainly going to catch me at one point, I would have to think, and I would have defended him if I had any ability to whatsoever. But with him having the DRS on the straight there and me not having DRS, I had no ability to fight him. So you see him get through there. So I'm P8. We're on lap 13. Moose is very close behind me. Moose is a guy that I've raced many times before in this league. And then also one time we showed up in a ranked lobby together. You see Chris there with the spin out, which, Chris, I think that's sort of the MO is he is very fast, but there are times when he spins out or he's inconsistent or whatever. So I personally think that if I beat Chris, it was probably because he made a mistake, not necessarily because I was faster than he was. So I just try to stay consistent and take advantage of those situations, because Chris is a guy that has gotten podiums in this league, so a very fast guy, but I just have to hope that he'll make a mistake and I can capitalize on it. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Moose is a guy that I've raced before. I think we are very close in just raw pace. which you would expect given that we end up here racing each other going into the last lap. I mean, that's, you have a 14 lap race. What is that? A minute and a half per lap, basically. I mean, we've been racing for 20 to 25 minutes, and the fact that we end up very close to each other. So I go very, very, very wide here to try to avoid him. I didn't mean to go that wide. It was just sort of dumb on my part. I was really lucky that Chris lost a lot of time to me, because if Chris had been right behind me, he absolutely would have pounced on the fact that I was off track in the gravel. So, that was a mistake by me. I was trying to give Moose the room, trying to be respectful there. Just went a little too wide. In retrospect, obviously, I should not have gone that wide. There was certainly room on the track for me to not go that wide, but I think I got a little wide and then just carried a little bit too much speed and then went wider than I expected. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, well, P8, I sort of threw away P7. That's on me. It was stupid, but hey, what are you going to do? And then actually Moose here lets me by, which I didn't understand what was happening at the time, and I asked him after the race, and he said, yeah, sorry, I thought that I maybe made contact with you or pushed you off the track or something going into out of the snail turns there, or I guess the first snail turn, you might call it. He did not make contact with me or push me off the track, so, he didn't need to do that. I think it was obviously a very classy move by him that he thought that he did make contact or something and felt like he needed to do that, but he certainly didn't. But, we will take it. We end up with a P7 here after subpar qualifying, so I love it.